Welcome, everybody. This is Tonya Hofmann, and this is my fabulous TV show. And I'm super excited that you're back with us today because I have a special treat for you. Because, of course, I love bringing these amazing people that you need to know that's going to be able to change your life today. And that's Miss Donna Woolam. Hey, Donna, how are you?
Hey, Tonya. I am magnificent. It's so good to be here with you today. I'm looking
Oh, my
forward to
goodness.
it. We're going to have fun.
Yay! Oh, you bet. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
we,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Right.
And I was just on Donna's show, and so she's on Blab also and YouTube, and so go check her out, follow her, tweet her, say hello. So tell us, Donna, a little bit about who you are. Kind of give us your elevator pitch.
My elevator pitch, well, if I could say it in one sentence, I'd say I open the door of possibilities for entrepreneurial women. I want to
Nice.
help that entrepreneur, that woman who works from home, works at home, has that big idea in her head and in her heart. Get that out of the inside of her, get it down, create a strategy, and get it out into the world. She's got something fabulous. She needs to let the world in on it too. So that's my goal. That's what I do.
Yay! And Donna is one of my career speaker instructors. So if you're ever interested in being a certified career speaker, talk to her, or you can talk to me also. But she'll have classes in the Fort Worth area. So
Yes.
if you're in Fort Worth, and by the way, did you know that I was born in Fort Worth? That's my baby town.
I did not know that. I did not know that you were from here.
Exactly. My whole family's from Burleson area and
Oh, wow.
Arlington and that kind of stuff. So.
That's so pretty there. It's such a pretty area. All of that
uh,
in that Burleson and Arlington. Just so pretty.
Yeah. And it's funny to see, as we start kind of growing our own businesses, I love watching cities grow. Some
Mhm.
people like freak out. They're like, it's getting too big. I'm like, no, 'cause you can see the growth. You can see how you can help people. You can see the businesses popping up and the activity, and I love that.
Oh, I do too. I grew up in Amarillo. That's where my hometown
Oh,
was in the panhandle of Texas. I know, cold. It was like 27 this morning. It's like not for me. But we lived in Midland, Odessa for over 20 years and moved here just in the Metroplex the last couple of years. So it's been a little different for me, but I love being in Fort Worth and all the life and energy and meeting all the incredible people around here. It's great. So wonderful.
oh, it's fun to go around the world and get to talk to people. And, what you really find is that people usually struggle in the same kind of areas in business,
Hmm.
and when they're kind of transitioning from being an employee to an entrepreneur, those are certain transition points. Or someone who went from one business, starting up over a brand new business, that's
Hmm.
another huge kind of development, right?
Yeah.
So what are some things that you find that it's just kind of, that button that you love pushing that helps people?
Oh, Tanya, that's like my big question. And I didn't even ask you to ask me that question. Didn't even plan this. But that button, I think that there is a mindset that a person has to have, and they have to really, and
Uh-oh,
what? The,
you're glitching.
oh, okay. They
So
have to
go and do that
believe.
again.
Okay, again.
Yeah.
Okay. They have to believe with everything in their heart that what they have inside of them is valuable to someone else. And if you can ever make that shift and believe that, you can transform the world because everyone is a beginner. So no matter where you are, even if you're just one step ahead of someone else, you have something to give back to someone else. So get out of your own way and take the chance. There's people to help you for what you don't know and help someone who doesn't know what you know already. There are people
Yeah.
out there who would die to know what you know. So share it, let people know.
I know, I do a lot of sales training and marketing training and, speaker training, obviously. But, I guess I should let everybody know who I am. So I'm Tonya Hofmann, and I'm actually the CEO and founder of the Public Speakers Association and Career Speaker Academy. So that's who I am. And, but, when I start looking at, that kind of transition point, it's always comes down to, can they project their brilliance in a way that makes people go, oh, I know what you can sell me. I know what you are trying to help me with.
Right.
And I think that's so hard because a lot of times people have that fear if they just say, I'm a realtor, or I can help you make more money by doing this one specific thing in your business, that they're somehow limiting themselves, or they're not allowing everybody to join in. Do you find that also?
I do. And I think that whenever the idea is if you try to reach the whole world, that is a good thing. But really what you need to do is make yourself narrow enough that you're reaching the people you need to reach and to be the person that you were made to be. Just over a year ago, I wrote my first book, and I wanted to be a writer forever. I mean, I had my stuff that I wrote when I was a kid, but I never really had that kind of confidence, although I'd had a little bit of training. And I listened to Jeff Goins, who is just so popular out on their Tribe Writers and all of that. And he said, the first thing you have to do is say, I am a writer, and own that to yourself. So whoever you are, whatever you're made to be that, own it, claim it, and be willing to live full out for whatever that is that you are.
Exactly. It's frustrating because I see some brilliant people. I mean, they have lived a life I can't live.
Right.
So in order for them to go out and change lives, they have to get out of their own way most of the time. Yeah. And when I start looking at, their expertise, they're not usually very clear exactly what it is that they're an expert in, right? And a lot of times it's hard to see our own expertise because we're too close to ourselves. So you have to have somebody project out. So I'm like, oh, Donna, my gosh, you should be doing, whatever it is. Right. My friend Debbie Hofmann, she was in a really awesome little MLM business, network marketing business. And I bought lots of things from her, vitamins and water systems and all kinds of things. But I was so impressed with her follow-up system. I have never seen somebody be able to follow up with me and make sure that I signed up and then that I continued to buy something from her. Yeah. And I was like, you need to teach this. She's like, well, I just do it. And I'm like, I know, but you could teach this. She goes, people would pay me for that. Now she runs all over the place teaching people how to follow up. Yeah. And she's making so much money at it.
You're so right, Tonya, because we don't recognize our own genius. We just don't. And I don't even think that it's some sort of humility or some sort of ingrained something that we're trying to put ourselves down. I just think you just don't understand your own brilliance. And I love that you use that word, that people don't understand their own brilliance. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, the other day I had a gentleman that he was on this blab, and he's like, Tonya, you need to show me how you systematize and how you, file and how do you get everything done? And I'm thinking, do I get everything done? How do I do that? I don't know. I just, I just have like a filing system, it's all locked and then it has little, I'm like, why is that special? And he's like, that's what I need. I need someone to show me how to do that. And I'm like, really? Because I just did it.
Right. And one of the, oh, sorry. Didn't mean to talk over you. No, I was just going to say that whenever you're trying to decide what you want to, when you have to decide what you want to do and how you're going to help other people, the first thing you have to do is ask yourself that question, what does my audience need to know? What's the first thing that could move them forward in what they're doing? So no matter if you're a realtor, what's that first thing that a realtor has to be able to do for their audience, as a writer, as a speaker, as a trainer, as a coach? What's the first thing? And if you can help people take that first piece with them, then you can help them walk along to the next place and open up that part of brilliance, which is what I love to do, is help women look inside themselves and see that.
Well, and it's, for me, it was kind of that moment when I created the Public Speakers Association, back almost 3 years ago, coming up in January. And I looked at, back then, because people always ask me, well, why did you start it? And it really became because of the frustration of what I couldn't find out there for speakers. And then people kept saying, Tonya, you're so good at, right? So that's the first clue, is what do people keep saying? So you have to let people know and create something. If they keep saying, Tonya, you're really good at, you need to create that. And so I had multiple business networking group organizations, in the past that I've created and expanded and then sold. And then people were like, you need to create a speaking organization. I'm like, really? Because I was still at that moment that I'm still trying to gain who I am as a speaker. And I'm like, I can build a speakers association. And they're like, yeah, because you're so much further ahead than we are. And I'm like, oh, so sometimes it's hard to see where people see us.
Yeah.
You find that?
I do. Because I spent so many years in direct sales and marketing. And so people I worked with people and saw different changes in their life. It was so much more than just a product or a service. My heart was always to be a speaker, so it was easy for me to stand up in front of people and speak. But then I was able to help others have that confidence and have those abilities. And so people said, you should help women do XYZ. And it's like, wow, okay. So a couple of years ago, when I was in a life change moment, I had to decide where I was going to go. And I thought, well, people say I'm good at this, so let's do what people say I'm good at.
Right. I know. It's fun. And then you start going, this is so much fun because you're already good at it and you're already having people go, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. It just kind of elevates you quickly.
Right. And it's not about, because I think you're the one who introduced me to the Mass Influence book. I know I won't say her name correctly, but
Teresa de Grosbois.
Yes. And she says there's a difference between just blowing your own horn and shameless self-promotion. And she says that you have to know that what you have will change people's lives. And when you do that, you can walk confidently in that. And so here you are, Tonya, you are so great at helping people be able to bring that up out of themselves, their ability to be a speaker and be a professional speaker. You know the ropes and you know how to help people get there. So you should be doing that. That's what you're excellent in. And I should be walking with women and helping them create the strategies and work them through that and how to create a system that helps them have consistent success every day in their chosen business.
And don't you find too that a lot of the hardest thing for me is to see that everybody is starting at one, right? You start at 0 or 1, and you have to move forward. And I always assume that everyone's already up where I am, right? You're like, you're still back there. What do you mean you don't know how to do that? Why are you asking me that? That's like basic. But that's where people are. And I think that's where, especially people that have been doing trainings, if you're like, a teacher, you've been doing trainings for corporations, you're used to a certain level of information, and you get out there to be a speaker and you have to dumb it down. And it always seems like you're not giving the full value. But when you start doing that, you give them too much because they're at 1, you're giving them, 8. And they're overwhelmed because they're still at 1. They can't even imagine 8 yet. Because they haven't even gone to number 2 yet.
And I think you're so right in that, Tanya, in that we have to have the confidence within ourselves that not only can we help people at step one, but we can help them along to step two, three, four, and five. And to have that kind of integrity and authenticity in ourselves, in our work and what we do, that people can have confidence in us, that we're not just up there trying to sell them our newest product or program, that what we
Yeah,
really do want to do is help them reach their next level of success or goals or progress, whatever that is, wherever a person is. Whether, like
absolutely.
you said, as a real estate agent, if you're helping a person that has bad credit, your goal is to help them get their credit straightened out so they can get a new home. So
Yes.
wherever you are and whatever you're doing. I don't know why we're talking about real estate today, but that's, that I think that's a
Who
great
knows?
out of the box kind of thing for the two of us.
Yeah, because I was just talking to an insurance agent, and he's brilliant. He ran into me probably 5 years ago. I spoke at an
Mhm.
event. He's been on my newsletter ever since. And I shot it out an email saying, hey, I just sent out 16 speaking opportunities. You need to make sure you're in on that. And he emailed me back, and he goes, Tanya, I've been watching you for a while, and
Mm,
I got some questions. And so I picked up the phone and was like, hey, Chris, what's going on?
yeah.
And I told him about Blab and told him about everything that's going on. So a lot of times what I find is that people want instantaneous, right? They
Hmm.
don't want Chris to wait until he's ready. They want
Right.
Chris to be ready right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
But you've got to be patient and be there for them when they are ready, when they are
Hmm.
at that moment to say, okay, yes, Donna, I am all in, or Tanya, I'm ready to be a speaker. What do I need to do?
Right.
Because it's not your timing.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. And for us as the people on the other side, it's like you said, you can't believe that people don't know that. So we have to remember that there was a time when, wow, I didn't know that either, and it's just second nature for me. And that there are the people who are ready to come along with you right now. Then there are the people who do need that more information, and there are people who will never ever want to come along on the journey with you. And we have to be okay with that.
Right.
Why wouldn't you want to? It's an incredible journey, but some people just
Yeah.
don't want to be on that journey.
I always have to remember back, right? Because I think it was, let's see, gosh, it was probably about 2007, 8 when I found out about Dave Ramsey,
Uh,
and someone told me about him and told me that he had this big event in Dallas I needed to go to. And I'm like, who is this guy? And of course, he's talking about basic finance, right? So you were like, this is kind of interesting because I just started finding about speakers and I wanted to see
mm,
what he did. So I took my daughter with me. We ran up there and I was blown away by the process, right? Because I get really geeky about process. How do people do things and
mm,
why? What's their strategy? And I was really blown away by a lot of the different things that he did that was strategically
mm.
brilliant. I
Yeah.
mean, I was just like, wow, this is really neat. And when you get up to a certain level of community building, because that's
Hmm.
really what he is so
Yes.
good at doing,
Yes.
and that's what I think a lot of people, when they start gravitating to somebody, is because they're building a community of like-minded people, and
Yes.
that's hard for a lot of people to understand because they just want to go out and sell their widget or their
Hmm.
service. They don't really want to build a community, but then nothing happens. I don't think. Don't you think so?
I agree. I agree. And I think that that's where the power of collaboration comes in. When you find people, they may not be exactly in your same space, but they have your same heart and they want to work toward bringing value to other people. Then no matter what they're doing and what you're doing, you can find a way to make that work. You can find a way to put things together. And so whenever I'm looking for someone to connect with, it's not so much about what they do, but who they are. And whenever you have a network of people or a community of people around you that are that way, you are unstoppable because you are like minded. Now, you may not do everything exactly the same way, and that's your challenge too.
Yes.
But you are headed at least in the same direction, and you're not trying to drag people along into your frame of mind.
Well, it's also about not trying to duplicate everything that somebody else does, because there's some things that just doesn't fit you.
Right.
And I think this is the problem with a lot of people who just go out and hire a speaker coach. Find someone that is very similar to you. That way, when they tell you to do something, it's probably something you're going to be able to actually do. A friend of mine spent $25,000 with a speaker coach kind of before I started really coaching people on speaking and all of that. And I looked at him like, you spent how much? And
wow.
didn't get anything out of it. I mean, very little, because his personality was completely opposite, and everything the guy told him to do, he was unwilling to do.
Wow.
And then he wanted to blame his coach. And I'm like, you do not blame the coach.
Right.
You're the one who hired him, and you're the one who couldn't and wouldn't do what he was telling you to do. Right. So you really got to align yourself. If you're going to hire someone, if you're going to hire Donna, you're going to hire me, you're going to hire somebody, make sure you're in alignment and that you actually like the person too.
And I think an excellent point, and I can only take for myself, because when I'm in a public forum like this, I believe that it's my responsibility to be as positive and uplifting and as encouraging as absolutely possible. I think that's my responsibility. You're not here to watch me be a sad sack, pitiful face, and so my energy is a lot higher. Richard, my husband, used to say, oh, Donna's got on her party face. It's just, you could tell if I was on the phone on business. But, sitting down one-on-one with me, I am much more of I'm a much calmer person. And so a quieter personality and spirit. And I think that you don't just watch somebody on a webinar and just hire them because, oh, they're fabulous, because you don't know. You need to, okay, I say that because I've done that. I have hired just straight off a webinar. I'll say that. But I think that you need to make sure that, like you said, Tonya, you're in alignment and in agreement with them. Make sure that your personality meshes, especially when you're talking about something as serious as about your business and your life changes. You need to make sure that you're going to be able to work with them.
Well, and for me, I want to be able to I want them to be reachable. Yeah. And a lot of them do not allow you to reach them, right? And so for me, I always ask certain questions when I hire a coach. And one of them is, are you accessible? And then are you also, will you get on the phone and have a conversation with me before I hire you? Because if you're not going to do that, I don't want to talk to, your assistant or one of your sub coaches. If I'm going to hire you, I'm going to hire you, and I want to talk to you.
Absolutely. Because that, in the coaching space where I spend part of my time coaching and speaking, writing, training, all of that kind of stuff, it is for me, I'm not just the traditional coach, because I believe so highly in mentorship as well, and walking people through a process, not just saying, hey, did you do your homework? Oh, you didn't do your homework, don't call me next week. Because I want to know, okay, what was it that kept you from being able to do that? And that is more in the mentorship side of a person. So when a person works with me in these different realms, they have to know that I'm not going to just be satisfied with their, no, I didn't get it done, just so they can get off the hook.
Exactly. And and the whole perfection issue too, if I always talk to, because I always say I hire my clients, because I only take 4 a year. My big coaching clients, I only take 4, and people are like, how could you only take 4? But I totally put myself into that realm, right? If I'm bringing in only 4 people to coach them on a 3-month basis at a time, that's one person at a time, because I am putting everything into them. So I need to make sure that when I bring them in as a client, that we are in alignment. So a lot of the questions that I ask is things to make sure that it's going to be successful. Right. And I think the hardest part, and you may find this too, is that not everyone's honest. Right. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to do this. And oh yes, I'll do everything you say or what. And then you like, crickets, like, what happened?
Where'd you go?
I thought you were gonna do, I gave you homework. Let's go. Right. it can be frustrating.
It can be. It can be. And one of the things that I just really value about that relationship, that opportunity to work with someone, is to really be able to help move them forward. But you cannot ever, so whoever's listening to this today, if you work with individuals, you can't want it more than they do. And that sounds
Yeah.
cliche, but if they don't have a heart to go after whatever it is they said they wanted, you can't make them. Now, you can, if you want to spend the time to find out a little bit about what's holding them back, because I believe that's part of our heart code, is what I call that. There's things that hold us back, but you can't make them want it. You can't
Yeah.
make them get it. So,
And I do a lot of training, sales training, and in general with network marketing companies. And that's one of the biggest thing is, oh, we've got the most amazing product. Oh, it will change their life. I said, yeah, but they still have to want it. It's not about need. It's about want.
Right. Right.
That is so hard to get across.
It is, and whenever I work with, because I work a lot with not just women, but primarily women, or who work from home, or creating that place and that space of business, whatever it is. Maybe they have an Etsy or Shopify store, or they're a coach or whatever. They're working from home. But one of the things I tell them is you can't just lay around in bed or watch TV all day and expect that your business will grow itself, or that any other person will respect you as a business person. You've got to respect yourself first as a business person, and do the work, put in the work and do the work, and help other people respect you for what you're doing. Let's get going on the process. So, whatever that part of the process is, they need to develop.
Yeah, you got to really play the part. If you're going to say you're successful, whatever, you've got to look successful. You got to act it. You got to be confident. If you're going to be a speaker, you can't just walk in and kind of slump in and people are like, who are you? And you're like, I'm the speaker. And they're like, uh-oh.
Exactly.
You got to walk in and everyone go, wow, who's that? That must be the person we're listening to.
Right.
And guess what? Your picture better look like the picture that they've been seeing. You better walk in looking like that person.
That's a great point, because I was in a mastermind earlier this year, and one of the things that I'm proud of, is my own personal transformation story, and that it takes work to do that, because I lost over 60 pounds in the last year, and so people see me today, they don't know me back then.
And you got different color hair, that's always an issue.
And my mastermind group said, Donna, you've got to do something about that. You've got to go and have some new pictures made. So you're so right. You need to be the person that you say you are and stand up. And that doesn't mean you need to lose 60 pounds, cut your hair and dye it blonde and do all of that kind of stuff, get new glasses. You just need to be who you are and own that space. And if you're coming in there as a speaker, be that speaker.
I do like the fact that you kind of transformed yourself, right? Because most people see, I transformed myself from 2005. I love this picture.
Right.
It's so ridiculous. I did a lot of transforming, and I had to really look at what does that really mean for me? I'm kind of yellow now. I got to redo my, there you go. So, when you're looking at that transformation, a lot of it, especially as a woman, is your hair. You're wanting people to see this.
Right.
So whatever you're selling, this is the main part you're selling. I don't care what the product is. I don't care what the service is. I don't care how amazing you are, but if they're not selling you, right, you have got to sell yourself first.
Right.
And that is so hard for people to grasp, know.
Right. Because, I've worked in industries where there are a lot of representatives or consultants for that industry. And they say, well, how can I make myself stand out? And the number one thing, no matter what industry you're in, it doesn't matter what industry, people buy you. And your authenticity, your integrity, and being who you say you are, and delivering on the promises that you make, not what the company makes, but what you make, makes all the difference.
Vanessa Barnes yesterday told everyone, you got to really own your why. And
Mm-hmm.
and took it even further. I said, you got to let other people know what your why is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
you do.
If you keep it to everybody else, keep it to yourself, then it doesn't do much for you. You
Right.
know, I love telling people, one of the pivotal moments for myself where I'm like, okay, this speaker thing has to work because my business has to grow. Speaking is an incredible part of your marketing. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was a year, about 2007 was a pivotal year for me was I going to move myself or was I going to stay that way, right?
Right.
And my daughter was going to a contest in Corpus Christi, and I couldn't go with her. I couldn't afford it. I
Mm.
couldn't. We tried to scrape up the money, but it was that or the house payment. And so she went on to this competition by herself with her
Wow.
friends,
Yeah.
and all of their parents went. And my daughter was always like, it's okay, Mom, I get it. But oh, my heart was just breaking. I hated every moment that I was away. So I swore that was not going to happen again.
Right. Right. And I think that there's always a place of transformation for a person, to kind of go back to what you said earlier, a place of decision. And um, I'm not going to tell my whole world story, but we went through a period of 3 years and over, and we're still in the process of that, where my husband was seriously ill. And so there was not a lot of opportunity for me, a person who was a big time dreamer and a big time believer in the possibility of what could happen. Well, when you woke up every day and you didn't know if you'd even have tomorrow, it can really mess with you. And so through a
Right.
period of time, then it was easier and easier to become the person who wasn't the dreamer and the person who wasn't out there moving forward. So I
Right.
had to come to a point where I said, no more. This is not who I
Mm-hmm.
am. And whoever ever knows what's going to happen tomorrow, none of us do. And I have to start living every day full out. And so I've tried
Yes.
to make that my way since then, which led to taking better care of myself and looking for more opportunities and getting myself back into the things that I love to do, which is being with people and working with people. It's just a matter of
Yes.
choice.
That's, um, when you're looking at the development of business, a lot of times people are like, I just want to know what the step one, step two, step three is. I'm
Right.
like, the first step is always yourself.
Yes.
Because if you can't get over that, you've got to put your face on a book, or
Yeah.
you got to be on Blab. If you have to have social media and put your name all over the place, not your business name, but your name,
Right.
you got to do all these things. A lot of people have a big struggle because they don't want the focus on them. That's why
Right.
a lot of them join other companies,
Mm-hmm.
because they can hide behind that big name. I'm a Mary Kay consultant. Yeah, but you're you and you're
Right.
selling this incredible product. So own that you are the person that they're actually buying it from.
Yes.
You know, it's such a hard transition, but if they make it, oh my gosh, it's just powerful.
It is. It is. And, even because I had been one of those worker bee people, and, I always worked for someone else, and that's what I did, and had no idea that you could even have something different than that until I learned about that. But one of the first things I learned was that you should have a personal icon, that no matter what else you do, you should set yourself apart. And that's when I came up with my lamb, with my last name being Woolam. I thought, how do you do that? So it was like lamb. And then it's like, okay, well, I can put little lambs around. That doesn't mean anything. And that's where living at my best came from. So it's LAMB, living at my best. And so my whole spiel used to be, as my name is Donna Woolam, not Woolham, because then I'd be a furry pig. No, it's Woolam, and I'm here to help you live at your best. So, it set me apart from everyone else that was selling the same product that I was, and made me
Yes.
memorable, which is what you have to do no matter what your industry is, to be memorable.
I You should go. There's a lot of fabulous artists out there, but I did little cartoons. So I just sent in my picture and they made a little cartoon of me, and I went to Fiverr.com. And so, it was about $20. And man, people love it when you turn yourself into a cartoon, and you can play it up, right? And you can have your little lamb with you or something.
I know. I've looked
or
at
a little Donna face lamb. I don't know. That might be scary.
Well, and I know that people really can't see that behind me, but I do have lambs around in my office because it helps me to remember, and they are meaningful to me. So like the first one that I got, I found a picture a long time ago of this lamb with these sunglasses on, and that song was "My Future's So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades." So I carried that with me everywhere. And my sister gave me a lamb with a pair of sunglasses on. So those things are memorable and meaningful at the same time. They're not just something to hang around. And and people have given me lambs as awards for things too. So, they just become part of who you are and part of your story. And I think that that's another thing too, Tonya, because I know how you introduce yourself, but the places that you go through and the things you experience do not make you less. They make you more. And the place that you are broken and the place where you feel scarred and less than, that's the place where the strength and the true difference in who you are and what you bring to the table really makes a difference. And I just want to encourage people, if you feel like that whatever you've gone through is disqualifying you, really take a minute and look at that, because that could be the thing that sets you apart and changes somebody else's life forever.
Yeah, and look at really developing real relationships, and that will increase your business massively.
Yes.
So really look at what is it that you can do that will help somebody else.
Right.
And that's a really pivotal moment in your business, is when you get that possibility of building a relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that makes all the difference to the people that you're connected to. And, it's that old saying, your net worth is directly tied to your network, and who you're involved with, and that, your social capital and your financial equity as well. So it makes it.
I know. I was just on a young man's TV show last night, and he was asking me, how do you get connected, Tonya? I just don't understand. And I'm like, you just send them an email or Facebook post or message or LinkedIn message or Twitter message. It's really not that hard to get a hold of anybody, and what you have to do is, when you see somebody that you just adore, reach out to them and let them know, oh my gosh, I loved it when you said this, or I would really love to connect. And if you can find somebody or something that you can help them with, meaning that connection factor is massive, you can definitely use that for influence and make a real impact.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree, because it is really all about what you do for other people. Whenever you're out there trying to find your space in this world, you can't be running around out there saying, give me, give me, give me. You have to, even the top level marketers or top level business people, you have to have that opportunity to say, how can I serve you and how can I help you? And know that even your little piece of whatever in the world it is can make the difference.
Awesome. And we're going to get real excited in just a minute, because Mr. Tim Gillette said he's going to be able to come in a minute.
That's great.
He's amazing. So, and this is what we're talking about, is it's not just, a lot of times people, they get stuck in the minutia of the step one, step two. And I always let people know, you have to be expansive. You have to look at developing things that are kind of our soft skills, I guess you would say. That relationship building. How can you help somebody else?
Yeah.
What can you do to bring value to others?
Yeah.
And that will increase all the connectivity factor, that increases opportunities, that increases sales. it's massive, because when you edify somebody else, so if I was talking to Susie about Donna and I was edifying how fabulous Donna is, then Susie's going to go, yeah, I've got to meet this woman, right? But if you're just like, oh yeah, you need to know Donna, why?
Exactly. Which is why I love to connect people with you, Tonya, whenever I have opportunity, and I meet so many incredible people, and I love to be able to connect them with you, because I know that you're going to bring that attitude. You're going to want to meet them and want to know how to support them and move them forward. So I don't have to worry, oh, what kind of person is Tonya and what she, because we all know those people that you're like, I don't want anybody to know them or be connected with them.
Well, and it's also those people that you connect, you spend the time, because it is time, and they don't do anything.
Right.
And you're like, well, why should I spend that time to connect you? There was a guy here in Austin, and, I was like, yeah, let me connect you. He was struggling.
Yeah.
Struggling, and he wouldn't take my connections. And I was like, well, that's why you're struggling.
Well, which has to come back to that attitude that we talked about earlier. You can't just walk around the world thinking you know everything and you know everybody you need to know. You never know when that one person that you meet will transform everything. And it will be, and I worked for a guy in Midland, because it was big. Of course, Midland, that's a big oil and gas industry. And I worked for this guy, and if you saw him on the street, you would think he was a homeless man. And he was one of the most powerful, most successful men within the city. So you just can't ever assume that you know who will be that most influential person in your life, or who is going to be the person, oh, wow, I knew him when,
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, even there was a lady early on that nobody wanted to have a one-on-one with her. And she did. She was broke. Everybody knew she was broke. They were just kind of avoiding the one-on-one with her. So I walked over to her and I said, I would love to have a one-on-one with you. And she was just like, oh my God, I would love that. And the day of, she calls me and she's like, I have to cancel. My car doesn't work and my husband has to go to, I had this whole scenario. I'm like, well, what if I meet you at your home?
Yeah.
Come to find out, her son had committed suicide a year before. And her husband was diagnosed with some horrible disease. It was like her whole life was thrown up into turmoil.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and I listened and I helped her as much as I could and gave her some suggestions. And then the next day she connected me with somebody that ended up being one of my biggest clients ever.
Yeah.
You have no idea who people know. And if you don't reach out and help, you won't ever know them.
Right. And I think that, at least in my space and where I am, and I would hope other people do too, you want to be known as a person who is genuine and who really makes a difference, like this guy right here who does.
Hey, fabulous. How are you?
Great.
I see who you had.
Good.
Come check it out.
Have you been on? Nice.
No,
have you been on
I just
Blab
got
all
back
day?
home. I was down. Another lady, Tonya, that I know had an event with Gary Barnes down here in Dallas. I had to go over to visit one of my tenants at my rental units, and then I had to stop and visit a client and stop and get my truck washed. And, there's all kinds of stuff I did.
You mean you actually have a live outside of Blab? Nice. Is that what you're telling us?
Believe it or not. So, and I'm driving to Houston to speak at, is it Sandy Lawrence's? I think it's meant on Monday.
Oh, nice. Oh, wonderful. She's so great. And you're gonna blow them away, I know.
I'm gonna have fun doing it, I'll tell you that. Well, I'm staying at a friend of ours' house down in the Woodlands area that they built a custom home 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So, of course, I'm going to go stay in luxury for a couple days.
Nice. That's always good.
So, I can get conversation, ladies. I've been hearing little bits about it. All right. So what's going on? How can I help?
Just talking about relationships, you and I, we connected, and you were like, I've got to get connected to you more, and we're like, sit down, let's have some coffee. And that's kind of what it is. It's about building really your business by building the people you're connected to.
I'm thankful for the people I am connected to. I'm thankful that I connected to you finally, because I think we met a couple of years ago, and life just took me all over the place. And finally one day I was like, I got to connect. I've been watching you. We connected on Facebook and watched you for a long time. And Tonya, you know, I studied what you did, because I had someone else who was in the industry, and I'm like trying to help them who was a client. So I'm studying what all, you know what I mean? Well, he should be studying, who his quote unquote competition is, but he's not. I study everything that my clients are doing. I want to know who else is in their space, because I want to help them. I want to help them get out and define that one thing that sets them apart from everybody else. I do the same thing in mine. I can't tell you how many blogging programs I've bought, because I'm checking out what everybody's doing out. You know what I mean? And everybody has great computer.
Why is this? I know this is like so news to people. You buy in and you sign up for people's newsletters. You buy their stuff because you want to see what are they doing that's working.
That's it. I want to see what's working. And most people, when you connect with me, I was at the car wash trying to connect into a blab that Brittany from Blab was doing, asking questions about some changes that I wanted to know, because they did changes here today. And usually I'm into Blabs. I'm into so many of them on a daily basis that people start connecting with me and following me. And I have to go to my page to go follow them all back. And she started saying, well, this is, you know what I mean? We're trying to build this as to an experience, what they get with it, and not a friending community. I'm like, I am. If you're that interested in me, I want to be interested in you. All right. And I want to come check out what you're doing while I'm there. If you're interesting, all right, then I'm going to bring you back and get you on one of mine, and then bring you in. There was a guy, Mike, who I brought on mine last night, who can barely speak, and I love him. He's a sweet guy. He's trying to learn and grow. He's in his late 60s. He's in a wheelchair, and my heart goes out to him because he wants to be a speaker. So I have to sit and listen to hear what he says, and then I repeat it when he's on my show so everybody gets his message. I want to help him out. I want to connect with this guy. I want to make his world better. Not like I can promote him, or not like I can do things for him, but I'm going to do what I can. If I've got to be his voice to everybody on here, I'm going to do that.
Well, and that's what it is about giving people the opportunity to share their message, right? Is actually showing people how incredible they are, and not have to have the spotlight on you the whole time, because everyone is so amazing. Why don't you want this spotlight on other people? You know?
And so you guys know, I'm not perfect in any way, and everything I do. I know it blows your mind, huh? I screwed up on somebody last night, and it was my last Periscope. I says, hey, I screwed up. What do I do? Okay, you know, I can sit in things. I mean, they wrote me a note. They sent me a message this morning. Hey, dude, not cool. And I'm like, oops, I made a mistake. Yeah. I went into a situation where I was trying to start helping them, and realized they didn't ask for my help. Instead of going in and asking, I went in and just started helping. And I realized, you know, as a coach, I'm supposed to stop and ask, and I didn't. So
we have all done that, you know. And what gets me, like, there was a lady on Periscope, and she's a member of the Public Speakers Association. So, you know, I was checking it out, just like I jump on yours. Except for you always call me Tony. Hey, Tony, because you can't see the little. The Periscope needs to figure out how to make the little blurbs bigger so we can read.
That's why I'm doing. That's why I'm talking. Hold on a second.
Exactly. You put your little grandpa glasses on, so that's cool. But you know, there was some things that I was like, you've got to change these couple things. So I called, you know, emailed her and I said, hey, would you like some feedback? And she goes, yeah, I would love that. I gave her the feedback, and she did not take it well. And I'm like, well, don't ask for feedback if you really don't want it. Because, you know, sometimes people give you feedback that, for me, I even if it's a negative, I love it, because you learn so much from what people don't like, you know. Not that you have to change, because there's some things you just can't change. And Donna, don't you have that happen with you, with your clients and stuff, with, asking them for help and then not giving, or giving too much, or things like that?
Because you want to find that right balance, but you don't always hit that balance. People are different, and some people really do want you to help them, and some people just really want you to listen to their mess and don't want that transformation. And then whenever you try to walk them through how to change that strategy, or how to move past that, there's like, hey, I don't want that. So you just give what you can, and if you mess up, you just do like Tim said, hey, I'm sorry.
Well, you see, I just put in the back, my buddy Matt, that was that blab I was on. I was at the car wash trying to connect to it, and then my car's done. I'm like, I'm not going to block the way, but like, I got to move it. There's no place to move it. I'm like, I got to get on the road. It's like, sorry guys, I got to X out of this. And then I couldn't get it connected to listen. So I'm saying to him, I'm sorry. Like, you're good. And I'm like,
yeah. It happens. It's just like, when you're invited to be a guest, things happen. Vanessa Barnes, that's listening today right now, she had some technical issues with Blab because it uses so much resources. If your internet isn't up to speed, you're just going to have issues. And that's why I've got my rules, right? You have to be nice, and you can't be perfect, because especially on a beta tested Blab, there's going to be issues.
You got to have fun. So, it was great. Like Donna, the other day when we see each other, I'm going to give you tips whenever I can.
Yeah.
But I try to go first. Can I give you guys this tip? You know what I mean? And that's a kindness act, because sometimes people are like, Tim, it's not your time to speak. Be quiet. And that's okay. It's okay for you to say, Tim, can you share that with me later? Okay with that. You're not going to offend me,
Yeah. I know. And there's some things that you see, and just because of your experience, there's some times that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have got to let that person know, because of just an experience that you've had. But you still have to come and approach it in a particular way. I loved it at my last public speakers conference. Teresa de Grosbois was my keynote. She was incredible. We were just talking about her with Donna, and she came up to me afterwards and she goes, can I talk to you about some things? And I'm like, yeah. I love that, because hardly anybody gives me feedback anymore, And she goes, you are so funny. You need to become a comedian. I'm like, I'm not ready for that. I'm like, I don't know about that. She goes, you are. But then she was like, you have to take control. And she told me there was one little spot in my presentation that I lost control a little bit of the audience. And I so appreciated it, right? So, I love feedback, but some people don't. You have to find out which fits their
we should make a for PSA members. Maybe we should make a feedback card for those PSA members who present, kind of like if you go to Toastmasters, they give you feedback. Maybe we can do that for PSA when they speak at an event, where the executive director of the event can give you, this is my scorecard on you. It's private. If you want to go over these, give me a call. But here's my score on ways I think you can improve and what you think you did great. I don't know.
They're supposed to give kind of a
I would love that.
I don't know.
If I spoke at one of your events, especially you, Tonya, you've got a little bit more speaking than I do. To go, Tim, I'm used to this crowd. This is how I felt you should have went with it. I love that feedback, but I'm not every speaker out there too.
Well, and that's one of the things I always suggest speakers do for each other is if you know that especially if there's a speaker that maybe a little bit further ahead than you are, ask them before you get on stage, because you can't ask afterwards, because sometimes you have to have that kind of mind, eyes looking at a certain, direction when you're doing something. Ask them beforehand, hey, when I'm on stage, could you just kind of give me some feedback afterwards? Is there anything that you see needs to be tweaked? And I've done the most amazing transformations from asking people to do that for me. And they so appreciate it. They're like, oh yeah, I would love to, right? Because they feel like, they're just sitting there bored anyway. So, they love people love helping. Yeah. They just really do.
And you gotta help.
So give them a job.
So
it's like the virtual summits that I do. A lot of people are like, oh, Tonya, what'd you think of my presentation?
Really
and I'm like, that was kind of afterwards. Well, a lot of times I'm not listening with that kind of ear. I'm just kind of listening and hearing what they're saying, but not critiquing. And so you have to listen in a different way. So I always just tell people, well, tell me next time before you start. But, it's all fun. And especially as we grow our business, connecting with people like Donna and Tim, each one of you listening, this is an opportunity to expand so much that you can do for others just by connecting them to the people here. They have massive reach, massive influence. We all know somebody you need to know. So it's kind of your job to get connected to
That's
us.
what I was trying to do last night. I was trying to connect somebody, and I thought they wanted the connection, and they really didn't, and I didn't know it.
Oh. Well, that's kind of weird, unless I didn't understand.
I didn't get it either, because I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, didn't you ask me if I could connect you to this person? Here they are. Here's their number. Here's their email addresses. Oh, you don't want that? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, all that person had to do is just take it and say thank you. They didn't have to actually do anything with it.
They said, no, what you did, the way you did it, not good, is what they said. And I'm not going to say what I did and what I did wrong. They came to me in private. They didn't publicly go, oh, no, bad. No, they went privately and said, hey, what you did, not good. Not, dude, not good, and that's how it was kind of put. And I kind of read it wrong, is what I'm thinking. All I was trying to do is introduce them, and I think I did it wrong. I think I introduced them right, but I think the process of how I did it was wrong, is what I think. So
people get you need to introduce me with this kind of preface, right? And I'm like, that is so much work for me.
I mean, it's okay. I wouldn't know all your little trinkets and gadgets. Tonya, I don't know you,
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm always like, hey, Tim, you need to know John. John, you need to know Tim, and just leave it at that.
You connected me too that, I already knew, and okay, thanks. I appreciate it. I already know them. It's cool. I'm not going to sit there and go, why did you connect me to them again?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, and I don't know if y'all know Jill Lublin. So she's a big speaker, and Jill is so funny because I swear I have connected her with the same people 14 times because I keep forgetting that I had connected her. I'm like, Jill needs to know you. And I don't know why I do that, but sometimes you're stuck on a loop. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Jill. This is just me.
Someday, Jill, I'll get this down and I'll know who you know and you'll know who I know.
Or what's really funny is when I introduce somebody that they introduce me to.
You need a spreadsheet, Tonya, of the people that you're connecting, have a connecting spreadsheet so you'll know in the future. Oh man! Check.
Okay.
One,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Already
we have something we get to say now, Tonya. Is we can just go, oh, sorry, blonde moment.
Oh God.
Well, and that's really what it's about. As we grow our business, we can't be perfect. We are still human. It is still part of our DNA. And I'd rather be human than other things. So, we're always going to step on somebody's toe. There was a guy that I talked to on the phone one time, and he's like, oh my gosh, Tonya, would you stop laughing? I'm trying to be serious here. Which then, of course, made me laugh more. And I was like, you need to just kind of let this go because this isn't going to work for us. If you don't like me this way, you're definitely going to not like my organization.
I'm always wanting to help people, but it's I always do that same thing though too, is going, I'm over the edge in some areas. You know what I mean? We all are. We've got to just, some of us understand that and we get it with each other and we're going, okay, I get it. I'm not perfect, but I'll keep trying.
Yeah. Well, and both of y'all probably have found this when you're at an event, there's multi-speaker lineup, right? And people are like, oh, I didn't like that last person. And I'm like, you don't have to like everybody. You don't have to buy everything from everybody.
Yeah.
It's a free world.
Well, I talk now. I actually put it in my speech because I met a guy named Dean Graciosi a couple months ago. And I'd heard about Dean for about a year before I heard him speak. I knew he was going to be at this event that I was going to be at. Well, that same event, there were two other speakers. I think one was from Tony Robbins and one was from T. Harv Eker's group. And I didn't resonate with either one of them, but I heard about Dean, and I gave Dean the same opportunity I gave the other ones. I sat in there for you know what I mean? I was going to go, I'm going to sit in here, and if it ever becomes a point where I don't resonate with them, where it's like, oh, okay, not for me, and I kindly get up and I go to the bathroom and, you know what I mean, I do some work outside, something like that, where I'm not going to go in there and distract the rest of the room who may resonate with them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna separate myself and pull any feelings or anything I have towards them away and let them do their job. And I walk away. Well, I did that. Yeah.
Why is that so hard?
I did that, and now I use it in my speeches. And I tell people, well, I met this guy, Dean Graciosi. Two other speakers, I didn't resonate. I sit down. I'm there listening to Dean. 20 minutes into it, I reach into my pocket like this, put my wallet on the table, and pull the credit card out. Because I don't know what he was doing, but I wanted to work with him. You know what I mean? And I knew he was going to make an offer, and I knew I wanted to work with him. So I don't know if I need the offer he's going to offer, but if that's the entrance level to do work with him, I want to do it.
Which is part of that. Just understanding who you're working with and having that connection is so vitally important, because not everybody is for everybody. But the people that you're supposed to be connected with, you need to find a way to get connected with them.
That's right. And I'll do what I got to do to get connected.
And you know when,
if I have to pay, I don't know how much I even pay to get into PSA. If I'm going to pay that to get connected to Tonya, I'm going to do it.
It's worth it, right?
I'm worth way more.
Oh, well, okay. It's worth way more. So.
But I once heard this statement, I think, Tonya, you've heard it too, from James Malinchak, when he talked about the idea that he wanted to meet this person to have them speak at his event. And he was calling, connecting with the assistant, emailing, back and forth, nothing. And then he's at a meeting with somebody in town where he lives, and he hears that this guy's speaking in in Mexico somewhere or something like that he's trying to connect with. So James gets on with his travel agent, gets a flight down there, gets a room down there, buys a ticket to the event down there, gets on the plane, goes down there, walks into the event, buys the guy's package, you know what I mean, and all that, to walk up to the guy as he's going to the bathroom and said, listen, I got down here on a plane. I came here to this event. I'm into your mastermind program. I've got a hotel here. All of that because I wanted to meet you to get the opportunity to say, I want you to speak at my boot camp. And I went,
wow.
He spent thousands of dollars to make the connection. And I'm like, how many of us won't go, well, I'm in Dallas, Tonya's in Austin. Well, you know, I'm not making that drive. And literally on my bike, it would cost me $25 to drive down and back. And we won't do it.
Right.
All right.
I know.
This guy went out of the country, thousands of dollars, rented a hotel, paid to go to a conference, full price.
I just did that the other day. There was a lady that she's the upcoming president for NABO. It's a huge women's organization. Found out she was going to be in San Antonio. I called her up and I said, hey, I see you're in San Antonio. Let's meet. I drive to San Antonio. I spend all day. I buy her lunch. You know, we just have a fabulous time. Guess who gets to speak at NABO? You know, these are not you have to stand yourself out. You have to show people that you're serious about them and helping them by connecting to them and doing something that other people just aren't willing to do.
I think I said, Tonya, I was supposed to come down to Austin to speak at somebody else's event that I knew. And I speak at someone's house. I was coming down to do like a mastermind event at their house, and I was going to share my blogging stuff. And then I was going to stay overnight at another friend of ours' house, and I was going to meet some people in Austin. Well, I was going to meet with you the next day, and that thing all fell through. And I said, hey, listen, do you still want me to come down? I was still going to drive down there to meet you. And you went, oh, no, I'm going to be in Dallas next week to meet somebody else. you know. And you drove up and drove back. You didn't stay at a hotel, you know.
Exactly. You know, a lot of the things, you know, one of the things, especially if y'all are speaking, if you're flying someplace, don't just fly there and go to the event. Fly there, contact all the people that you know in that area, and then those people ask people, who do you know that I need to meet with? Create a little meetup, you know, to excite people to be there, you know, tweet it out, let people know about a little meet and greet that you were going to do. I've done VIP experiences, and a lot of times these events don't even have a VIP experience. So I'm like, hey, can I invite your sponsors and your other speakers to do with the conference? But I'm going to go there, so I'm going to maximize my potential and the time that I'm spending away from my family, my business, you know, everything. I might as well be doing a lot with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the type of person who I've flown to LA to meet somebody for the day, have lunch with them. I mean, I've flown there, rented a car, drove an hour up to, you know, the North Valley area, had lunch with them, drove back, dropped my rent-a-car off, went over to the airport, got back on a plane and flew back home. All to have lunch with that person, which was a total cost to me of around $500 or $600 to have lunch.
Absolutely.
How many of you want to make the connection with someone that bad? All right. And I use the analogy, and I know in the speaker world, we have like just you say James Malinchak or Les Brown, or if I found one of them were coming to town here in Dallas and said, hey, Tim, I need somebody to pick me up at the airport, take me in a hotel. If you're willing to do it, I'll give you a dinner with for the night. I would be like, okay, where do you want to eat in Dallas? You name the place, I'm taking you there.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't care. I mean, and if they want a $300 steak, guess what? I'm taking them for a $300 steak. If I want to connect with them that bad, I will. I'll find a way.
Well, and you really got to look at, you know, if you're wanting to go out and speak and you want to get into all these conferences, it can't just, like a lady sent me her little speaker sheet in the mail. She's like, here, Tonya, I want to speak at your next conference. And so she mails me her speaker sheet with a little, you know, thing written on that, contact me, I would love to speak. And I was like, you've got to be joking. So what do? I pick up the phone and I'm like, hey, I see you want to speak at my conference. You know, who the heck are you? You know, and I'm trying to build a rapport, and she's just hammering that she just wants to speak at my conference. And she's so one-sided that there's no business relationship that she's trying to build.
She needs to be in Career Speaker Academy.
Right. But you know,
you're speaking at a conference.
Right. I know, Tim, you're going to be there, I'm sure. But you know, this is what it's about, is you've got to build those relationships or nothing's going to happen, right. You know? And you know, when I just met Teresa de Grosbois, and I was like, oh my gosh, this woman is super connected. I want to build a very long-lasting relationship with her. And so I went and started emailing her and connecting, and I just started emailing her connections. And then she started emailing me connections. And now we're on the phone almost every other month figuring out what can we do for each other? How can we help? Her new book came out. I wanted to make sure I did a big media push. You know, help people.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
And which is a great book, by the way. You know, so it's not like you're promoting something or someone that you don't know is of extreme value. So, you know, I mean, it's just whenever you take the time to make those connections and really get to know the people, then you have just so much more that you can offer the people that you know. You know, it's like Tim said, I want to make sure that I get them where they want to go and how they want to go and be of service to them. The more that you can connect with people, the more service you have to give to people.
Exactly. And I have got to wind up the show because I have an event I've got to go to, even this late at night. I know. I never
Party
stop.
girl.
I know. Right. You know, yeah, it's a real party. So they better have a d'oeuvres or something. I don't know.
Wine better be served.
I mean, exactly. So tell us, Donna, how do they get a hold of you? Do you have a free offer that you'd like to give them? What would you like to do?
I do. And all they have to do, I'll put it over in the notes, but go to donnawoolam.com, donnawoolam.com. And I have a couple of things, whatever resonates the most with you is I believe that work at home women should be respected and honored. And so I have a great article over there for work at home women. I call them work at home queens. Every woman who works at home should wear a tiara. So, you know,
I want a tiara.
So, and get the respect that they deserve. So there's a great report over there, but also, are you, you can have one too. Work at home guys. So,
I know.
And, also for balance, because one of the things that we struggle a lot with working at home is creating that balance. So I have a great 10 simple steps for balance. So those are both over there. Just love you to come by over to donnawoolam.com. Hey, there's Danielle. Danielle, we're fixing to leave, girl. But thanks for
We got to get you on my show, Miss Danielle.
We met her, Tim, last week on a blab. She popped in and now she's a member of PSA. So I've had people ask me questions. Is it worthwhile to be on blab? Well, there's Danielle.
To meet fabulous people like Danielle.
Absolutely.
Tim, do you have any way for people to follow you or anything like that?
Yep. If you guys go to timgillette.com, my name, TIMGILLETTE, just like the razorblade.com, I have a free video interactive newsletter. You get to pick the blogging tips you want for next week.
Nice. Once you type that in, if you can,
Sure.
that way they'll have the link. And then I always run a contest every month. The contest is pulled on the 1st of the month, and it's just TonyaHofmann.com /win / so there it is. It takes you right to that, or you can get it from the front page. I also want to encourage everybody. We've got 2 things going on. If you go to publicspeakersconference.com, and I'll put that in there, then we have a nomination. So every one of you needs to get nominated. So go to publicspeakersconference.com. I can't obviously speak and type at the same time. Public Speakers Conference. And what we're doing is we're also doing not only the nominations for local, national, international collaborator of the year. So you would definitely want to be in on that, because even nominations are just as good as awards almost. So you definitely want to get nominated. But we also have a video conference contest, so that you can actually submit up to a 5-minute video, and we have different categories. So it could be the best tip of health and wellness or the best business tip video. So we're going to be doing different presentations, so you could have the best of award at the conference. So submit those videos now, and we're going to be posting them so people can go over to your YouTube or your website, wherever you link us to, and watch your video, because I believe in driving lots and lots of traffic to y'all. So Donna, Tim, I definitely want you in on both of those contests.
Okay.
There's my serious look for today.
That's her bossy look, Tim. That's her bossy look. So
that's my bossy look. That's as bossy as I can look.
Thank you so much, Tonya. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. And thanks, Tim, for jumping in on it and being here. And we will be back to Monday. We do this Monday through Friday. So we would love to have you on the show also. Go to publicspeakersassociation.com. It's in one of the little chat windows, so that you can jump in on the next opportunity to be on my show. So we want to be there. So there it is. There's my little thingy that I made.